I love going live because I get this reminder that I'm live. Yes. Hey, Leah, thank you for the message. And I know you've got to be somewhere else, but bless you, love, for stopping by. And bless all of you who are stopping by. Maybe you're drawn to someone going live, or maybe you're drawn to my topic, soul nurturing, um, for the solar eclipse, where we're being called for major course corrections, cosmic course corrections. So if this is your first time joining me, this is the Soul Nurturer channel. I am Victoria. I am a soul nurturer. I nurture the potential in others. That's my soul mission. And I use the word soul a lot. I'm drawn to all things soul. So if you're drawn here to this channel, my sense is that you are an empath, you are intuitive, you are on a journey of spiritual journey of unfolding. You're trying to make sense of the human experience. You're on a mission too. And so I welcome you here. May I offer something that supports you and invites you into a deeper dive into your own inner world. And it is the inner world that we work in order to create a better collective world. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Consider subscribing, maybe stick around for a little bit and see if what I'm saying does connect with you. Watch some of my other videos. I'm noticing my lighting's way off. One of the things about going live is lighting for me. It drives me crazy, but I had to be here today because I'm going to go a little later. Nope, maybe a little more. Okay, we're not going to fuss about it. Anyway, I wanted to be here today because I'm feeling the annular solar eclipse coming up on this. Hi, Jessica. Thank you, sweetheart. Yay, good to have soul friends. We are in the eclipse portal. We are on the verge of a new moon in Libra this Saturday, and the new moon in Libra is eclipse. It's an eclipse. It's a what's called an annular solar eclipse. And what that means is that it's not a total eclipse. So it's an eclipse where if you are in a viewing range, and I might list those again, but actually it's in my last video talking all about the solar eclipse. If you want to know where you might be able to view this with protective eye gear. I'm laughing because earlier I sent a message to my husband's parents who are near Oregon, which is one of the good viewing sites. And I said, remember to have your ear gear on. It was one of those autocorrects, and my husband caught it and I thought it was super funny. So no, your eye gear so that you can look at this partial eclipse, which is called an annular it's based on the root annulus, which means ring. So the moon, because it's in its apogee phase, furthest away from the earth, isn't able to completely cover the sun's light. So a little bit of light comes out as a golden ring, a sunlight ring, and it's spectacular to view. So if you're in viewing range, check it out. But what does this mean to us symbolically? And typically when we have eclipse seasons, which happens every 6 months, just part of the evolving and transformational cycle, but it can tend to be more intense. A lot of people call solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, new moons and full moons on steroids. There's more intensity. Why? Because they are birthquakes to wake us up to more of our potential, to help us cosmically course correct, to wake us up, to bring us out of our shadows, or bring material out of our shadows to see, to integrate. Things are revealed that need to be healed, lots of good stuff. So it's not, everything is purposeful. Some people get afraid, it's an eclipse season and oh my goodness. And yeah, they can be intense, but remember, that's why I said birthquakes. We are rebirthing individually and collectively a new world. But first it starts with us. This axis is Aries Libra axis. The new moon's in Libra, and it's a solar eclipse because it's conjunct the south node in Libra. The nodes of destiny, they're called, and they change every 18 months. And these just changed in July. So, oh goodness, I've got some friends with me today. Welcome everyone. I'll get back to your comments in just a moment. So that's why they're considered so important. Our ancient ancestors considered them fated times. I mean, a lot of they would watch the moon, go into shadow, or the sun, the sunlight being blocked by the moon during a solar eclipse, or then a lunar eclipse where the Earth shadow is now on, blocking the light. So, and they would see these and they would know something monumental was about to happen and something monumental was about to shift. Now, I imagine that was very frightening. We have a lot more information now. We've been tracking the sun and the moon for so long now. And this is what astrology is. It's tracking the celestial movements, in this case, the luminaries, the sun and the moon. And how is it corresponding with us in our unique and beautiful unfolding? I believe that we are souls having a human experience, and we're here to continue to grow and unfold our potential. And sometimes it comes with challenges. Sometimes it comes with quick and unexpected events, right? But all purposeful. So I wanted to say that straight at the top. I'll say hello to who's here. Okay, I see that you are here and you may need to leave, Leah. I know that, but thank you so much. Thank you. May this session be filled with clarity and abundance from above. I love that. Yes. And Jessica is here, and Megan is here, and Brittany is here. Good evening. Hello. I'm good, Megan. How are you? Good to have you with me. Okay. I wanted to just come on because I think that as an empath, I'm kind of like a thermometer. I can feel into what's happening. And I have to often ask, is this my stuff? And yeah, a lot of times it is. Or is it the collective? What am I feeling into? So it was feeling really bumpy for me yesterday. Had a very bumpy day. I have a good friend who uses the word crunchy. I'm having a crunchy experience with my friend, or a crunchy experience. So you may notice, since we have been going through some huge transformational times, especially, from 2020 on now, that we tend to use these adjectives more and more. It was intense. It was heavy. So I love to come on and just do these sort of check-ins, like soul nurturing check-ins, so that you're reminded you're not alone. And then you can hear from, me and the thermostat here, or the thermometer, who, by the way, I have connected to many of my clients and friends today, just checking in with them. How are you doing? What are you noticing? Some people are doing great. Awesome. Remember, all lunation cycles impact us all differently, because where they land in our chart makes the difference. Okay. This particular lunation, this particular annular solar eclipse is happening at 21 degrees of Libra. So for those of you who are learning astrology, I know some of you who are with me here now you can look at your chart and look at where 21 degrees of Libra, which house it falls in your chart. Now, I use Placidus, which is not exact houses, but for learning transits, I do recommend whole sign for just this reason, because it's easier. Whole sign. So say your rising is Capricorn, your entire first house is Capricorn. So I happen to be a Capricorn rising, but I'm 26 degrees, which I have a split first house, right? Starts with Capricorn, goes into Aquarius. But if I'm learning astrology, which I'm recommending to any of you, try whole sign for transits. It's just easier to see. Placidus is more specific in my mind. But so then you would find out which house Libra rules. So for my example here, I'm a Capricorn rising. That's the first house. So it's Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries. Now, Aries is on the access point with Libra, right? So I know it's the fourth house is Aries. And then I look across the fourth house to the 10th house, right? So that's whole sign. But for me, in Placidus, this axis is third and ninth. And it's complicated. I'm getting too complicated. But basically, I want you just to be able to look at your own chart. And this is where I do offer the 20-minute soul chart review, or however you want to use it, 20-minute consultation, a soul session with me, complimentary for now. I love doing these. So some people like to look at the specific aspects, or they're just a quick little look at your chart, or you just want to talk about what your journey's been so far. And what I like to do is help you illuminate the path ahead of you. So you can go to my website, it's in the description, and request a 20-minute consult. Or if you're feeling things are a little bumpy for you and you need a little guidance, then schedule a full session. You're worth it. Okay. So yeah, I was feeling a little bumpy, and I this morning went out to kind of settle. It was a beautiful day. I took my shoes off. I put my feet on the earth, which is really an important, we know this, we just need to practice it. Grounding when we're feeling kind of some swirling, maybe we're feeling ourselves pulled too much to what's going on in the world, that we abandon, we evacuate our own inner world. We disconnect from ourselves. We disconnect from our tools, our soul, our guidance. So I was finding myself a little wobbly. I went outside and put my feet on the earth, instant relief there. But then I said a prayer, show me what I need to know at this time and what's going on. And I got the most beautiful guidance back. And then I knew I'm going to do a live today. And what I heard was, see if I can pull it back up. Be the calm in the storm, be the shelter for the souls. And then immediately I felt calm. And then I heard, and trust that I will take care of you. Beautiful. So immediately I was calmed, and I was called back to my soul mission, which is, I couldn't have said it any better. I did used to teach a class called Shelter and Soul, but the phrasing came like, that is my mission. It has always been my essence. People often have said to me, when I hear your voice, I feel calm, or when I'm around you, I feel calm. Beautiful. So be the calm in the storm. Yes, eclipse seasons can feel like stormy weather. Why? Because it's transformational energy, helping us to evolve, helping us to shed, to revisit old patterns, to wake up to where we're blocked, where our light is blocked. And so here I am to offer shelter for you souls, and hopefully something I say really, really speaks to you and helps you feel sheltered, and may you find some calm, safe ground underneath you as you're listening. So I am going to pop over to my notes for just a moment, because I did have a quote I wanted to start with. And this is where my lighting really changes, because when I go to my screen, it's brighter, but it's just lighting. Listen to my words. So for me, when there's challenging stuff going on in the world, and I know that I'm getting pulled in another transformational cycle or a rebirthing, which we are in a collective rebirth, my go-to spiritual teacher, I call her my spiritual mother, because when I found her years ago, 25 years ago, when I'd listened to her lectures, when I read her books, instantly felt met where I needed to be met. And I'm speaking of Pema Chodron, and you probably have heard me speak of her before, but I have a quote from her that it seems so perfect for eclipse season and transformational times like the ones we're in right now. So, and you may have heard this before, but take this in as we begin. Things fall apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem, but the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and they fall apart. Then they come together again and they fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen. Room for grief, room for relief, for misery, and for joy. I just love that. I mean, it is a reminder. My husband often reminds me, he says, this is just life. This is life. So yes, in the human experience, things can get bumpy. We can be going through challenges. We can feel disappointments. We can experience loss. We can experience course corrections. And that's what I think eclipse seasons are. And I think that this particular one in Libra season, and it's a new moon in Libra, is focusing on relationships, not just relationships, intimate relationships, but relationships that begin with you. Remember, everything that we're witnessing in the world is filtered through us. And the majority of what we're witnessing through projection, through our history, through our associations, through our life journey. Okay. So it's just a really good reminder, especially with all of the other astrology going on right now, which I'm not going to go into, but just to say it is about taking personal responsibility. It's about doing the hard work towards your goals. And if your goal, eclipses can come in a lot of times swiftly. I'm going back from my notes, swiftly and unexpectedly to course correct us. And what I like to say is, change or be changed. Either way, something's going to happen. Now, again, sometimes an eclipse season is mild for some people, and for some others, especially if you're a cardinal sign, an Aries, a Libra, Scorpio, and if you are, you're engaging, you're working with it. Like I was reaching out to my clients today, and one client just said, yeah, I'm doing great, but I know this particular person has been really working hard. She's been doing her inner work. She's been really questioning the story of her life. She's been changing her beliefs. She's been really moving in the direction of destiny, of her potential, her possibilities. And so she's good. She's like flowing with it, right? And that's another thing I like to say is either work with the astrology or be worked by it. Okay. So, and then you can just feel, because you're an empath, you can feel there's something big happening. And that's the one thing we have to make peace with in our lifetime, is the one consistency is change, right? And we can't transform without change, and we can't evolve without transformation. So it's just something we make peace with, right? I remember an astrologer, a reading I had probably 20 years ago. He said to me, have you made peace with all of the deep dives you do and all the major transformations you do? I'm like, not yet. I mean, yes and no. I can feel when they come, and I'm not like, woohoo, here we go. But I'm much more like, I recognize this as a transformational cycle. And I hope that you can recognize them too. So, whenever you notice yourself off a little bit, like this week, a lot of my clients and friends were talking about being exhausted. I myself have been exhausted. This tells you something's stirring, right? And this is what eclipses can do. Stir up things for healing. All things relationship, all unfinished business with relationships, your relationship with self. Where are you imbalanced? Where are you, disconnected? Where are you out of alignment? And where are you needing to review some things about relationships? Remember, if you watched my last video, we've been reviewing relationships for a while. So this is the, new moon. We don't do the typical rituals around this new moon because it's an eclipse. It's a lot more potent, but you can still set your intentions. And a good way to set your intentions is to identify what isn't working. I often say, that's doing the research. Sometimes we're in a situation where we took a job that, felt right in the beginning, and it doesn't feel right, and it doesn't feel aligned with you, right? And now you're reevaluating that, and you're getting to make a decision. This came to me earlier today too. Do you know the origin of, or the root word of decisions is connected to cut away, like decide. I've made a decision. Now I'm not doing that anymore. I'm doing this more aligned with my soul. And so this for me feels like decision-making time. What is best for you? And this is the The north node is now in Aries and the south node is in Libra, the nodes of destiny that change every 18 months. So we're in this cycle for a little while. They just changed in July. So this axis is about doing what's best for you so you can be a better partner, so you can be a better contributor to others, so you could help bring harmony to the world. Instead of, being lost and tangled in codependency, which is, well, maybe if I take care of everybody else, maybe I'll be okay. No, that's not what this is about. This is about deciding what's best for you, your purpose, who God created you to be, what mission you have to fulfill, whether it's with, your work, as a parent, as in a relationship. How are you showing up best in your empowered self? I like to make a distinction that can be helpful here and that can invite in more compassion for self and others. When we're looking at relationship stuff, again, it begins within, and then the relationship we have with ourselves, the healthier it is, the more you love yourself, the more you're connected to your soul potential, and you've done your inner work and you've healed your wounded places continually, because they don't go away. You continue to tend and mend your wounded places so you can offer that to a partner, or you can call in a partner alongside of you that can mirror that back to you. And so to remember that we're focusing on ourselves in order to have a healthy relationship with others, and to take our main focus off of the other person, whether it's a partner or your boss, or your family. And, I was reminded of my own advice today, just thinking about some snarly places I've had with my family. And I did some forgiveness work this morning, just calling them to my mind and apologizing for anything I've done that has contributed to a challenging relationship. Now I can focus on all the things that they did and all that, and I realized, and, this morning I was really deep in thought about this eclipse, which is connected to shadow work. So here's something: when we're shaming and blaming other people, that's our shadow. So just know that, that old saying, like when you're pointing the finger at someone else, how many fingers are pointing back, right? We've got 3. So for every point at someone else, you did this, you did that, you need to consider 3 times as much where that's true for you, right? So shame and blame is telling you that you're over a shadow, that you've denied, suppressed, resisted, or haven't healed an old place that reminds you of something painful you've suppressed. So this is a time I got this from Reverend Michael Beckwith, one of my teachers. What is revealed is meant to be healed. And this is an ongoing process, my friends. We're continually learning and growing and needing to tend and mend what's in our inner world. What is going on that we haven't addressed? And maybe, not maybe, definitely, if it's coming up now, that means you're ready to do the work. I'm going to adjust my lighting. Jessica, if you're still with me, tell me if this, nope, now it's darker. No. Okay, let me go back. I need my husband to come in here. Babe, come fix my lighting. All right, is that okay? Can you see me okay? It's not too light, not too dark. Well, I could be in half shadow because that would be like the eclipse. So again, thinking about the eclipse, the moon is blocking out the sun's light. So I ask you this question: where is your light blocked? Or what have you put in shadow that now is the time to call into the light? Okay. So I'm going to go back to my notes because I have more. Yes, Megan, it's all about self-care. You are right. Indeed. Okay. So if you have any questions while you're here with me, do you have any questions about this, what I'm talking about the eclipse, about anything connected to soul work, dream work, any of my favorite topics? Go ahead and put them in the chat. So yes, so the moon blocks the sun's light. And so what does that symbolize to you? What's blocking your light? And I already said that what's in your shadow that may have been that you've suppressed, denied, and it's needing to be healed. It's needing to be brought to the light. And let me just scroll down here. And how are you feeling? I don't know if any of you mentioned, but are you feeling more agitated? I always think of this transformational idea that I used to teach in workshops. I'd literally demonstrate this, and you can do this on your own. You get a glass of water, and you put some dirt on the bottom of the water, and then you start to pour water into this cup. I might do this as a visual someday on live or on a video. And you pour water in, what happens? Well, you may think that the water begins to clear right away, but no, what happens is all of that, the muck at the bottom gets stirred up. And this is where, with transformation, people know that there's something going on, that there's something they need to deal with. But when they come to someone like me and we start pouring water in, which is, awareness, doing some intentional work for self-care and soul care, the first thing that happens is all the stuff that you haven't dealt with starts to get stirred up. And that's where people go, I don't want to do this. It's getting worse. And that, I think, is another part of eclipses. It seems to be getting worse. It seems like we're going backwards, but we're doing a clearing. We're doing a releasing. We're deciding what no longer works so we can clear the water and put in water that nourishes us, nurtures us, and our potential. So, no questions, your quiet group. Okay. I also wanted to mention that we've had a big significant change that I think I feel this. I mean, I just think I'm a very sensitive this way. And a lot of people would say there's no way you could feel this because Pluto is so far away. I feel it, especially because it's in my first house transiting, but Pluto is now direct. Pluto it went into Aquarius for a little bit, and then it's gone now back in retrograding into Capricorn, which is a big reason why we've been in this intensely transformational cycle. We've been looking at the foundations of our lives, of our structures in the world, our government. You notice there's a lot of wonky stuff going on. And Capricorn wants to make sure that we've learned our lessons. We were up for the task. We have some structures in place that are built on healthy foundations, ethically, with integrity in our own lives. And of course, in the world, we're seeing that. Also, Mars is now shifting. It shifted from Libra and is now in Scorpio. It's another message I got this morning. And even though Mars is now in Scorpio, it still feels like this because we're in Libra season. It was, let's see, I think I wrote it down because I knew I wouldn't remember it. So let me go look at that. That you may feel called to fight for what's fair. This is Libra season, and this is North Node in Aries, and it was Mars in Libra. You may be called to fight for what's fair, but the first place to look is if you are fighting fairly. I'm not going to get into all that's going on in the Middle East, but I will say this, our hearts are, so heavy because we know that a lot of innocent lives have been lost and are in jeopardy. And think about Libra, the two sides of the scale. I believe, and I don't want to get into any political discussion here, but we could find, under both sides. But there's an imbalance right now, and there's definitely unfair fighting, right? And it's horrid to even be aware of. But remember, I often say, this is part of shadow work too, and this is part of soul work. What's happening in the world? Where is it happening in your inner world? Where are you wanting to fight for something fair, but you're not doing it in a fair way? In other words, you're not considering the other perspective. And that's really important. And I think that's where, I've always lived from try to view the other perspective, but I was always discounting mine, right? So so I got a little stubborn with like, wait a minute, I'm going to stick with what I see. But true healing is being willing to consider both sides. So I was, thinking about a little discord I have with my sister, and I had gotten very worked up about it. And then I just kind of let it go, and I imagined her world, and I imagined what's going on with her. And she makes me cry because she's got a lot going on. And I could find the compassion, and I could let go of my grudge story, and I can tend and mend my own wound that had opened during our discord. And I was able to let it go. And this is where we need to practice. Otherwise, we're not healing. Healing starts with us. Okay. So I'm going to go back and see if there's any questions, and I may, adjust. Hey, Crystal, how are you? Welcome. Do you have any questions? I'm so excited to see you here. I'm going to try to adjust my lighting one more. Oh gosh. This is, my nemesis, lighting. But anyway, does that make sense to you? You must shift your perspective and try on the other person's perspective. Okay. Do not discount yourself. Don't skip over yourself. You want to include your perspective too, but try on the different perspectives and find the balance point. Remember the balance point. Libra sees, and we can see both sides, and you come to the balance, and you come to a place of, peace. And that's where true decisions are. When we're aligned with our soul, and this is a time to pay attention to your dreams, your nightly dreams, or look for the symbology. Creator's always trying to guide you and help you and support you. I went for a bike ride this morning. Was it before or after? I was feeling grumpy. No, it was just after I did my meditation and heard those beautiful words of be the calm in the storm, be the calm in the storm, be the shelter for souls. And I went on a bike ride, and which is my therapy. And in the middle of in the street was this big toad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not a busy street, but I knew cars were coming, and he was not in a good place. So I stopped, and I helped him gently choose a side, and he went back into the bushes. But okay, so I take that as a symbology. What does the toad represent to me, And I thought about it on my bike ride, and they're very transformational, right? And they're also connected to relationships. If you think about, we kiss the frog and it turns into a prince. I didn't need to kiss the frog because I already have a prince, but do you see what I mean? Pay attention to what's going on in your environment, in your world, especially in nature. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I woke up this morning. This was my recommendation. Oh, I love that it was recommended. Awesome. And I'm so glad you're here, Crystal. Beautiful. So pay attention. This is soul guidance. What do you notice? Just like dream work, when you pay attention to your dreams at night, you don't have to catch the whole dream. Pay attention to the very unique and juicy imagery and work with that. Sit with it. What does this mean to me? And remember that soul language is symbology. So we have to learn the symbolic language in order to understand our soul, which is, by the way, what astrology is. It's a symbolic language. So when you see something like I saw this frog, what does that mean to me, and what is it communicating to me? So you can do some journaling. You can even imagine, like, what is the frog saying to me? Like, it's sort of a takeoff of Jung's active imagination, actualizing, or, getting a message from the images in your dream, both asleep and awake. Okay. So let's see if I have anything. Do you have any questions, Crystal? Anything you want to know about the eclipse season? Anything like that? I'm going to peek at my notes, and I'll be right back. Thanks. Okay. So with now Mars in Scorpio, there is more intensity. And I did have this imagery too what happens with me with astrology is I feel it, and then I get imagery for it. So Mars in Scorpio, it's, Scorpio is ruled, the traditional ruler is Mars, and Mars is the warrior. It's going to fight for something, right? And Scorpio is all about transformation. So Mars and Scorpio is fighting for transformation. So what I was thinking about too, yes, we're wielding big energy right now. We've got a sword in our hand for transformation. Just do not harm anybody else with it. Use it to clear the path ahead of you, or the path ahead of you, so that others can walk that path too. But it can be, deeply empowering, and you must know how to wield that power. Again, is it hurting others? Are you hurting yourself with it? Then do something different. Okay. All right. And I just wanted to remind you too, as I was talking about the lunar nodes that changed in July, that they are, well, they're not actual planets or physical bodies. And this is hard to explain, but I'll try to explain it. They are mathematical points at the intersection of the path of the sun with the path of the moon. Okay. And so they're connected to the sun and the moon. And we know that, well, maybe you don't know, but I know, I'm going to share with you that the sun is connected to masculine yang energy. It's connected to identity. It's connected to vitality. It's connected to where do we want to put our energy? And the moon is the yin. It's the emotions. It's the feminine aspect of us, and the feminine side of our identity. So there's this balancing, right? And that's why I said it's an Aries Libra axis. That's what needs to be balanced, where we're fighting for something new, where we're honoring our soul mission, but also able to be in partnership. And this quote pops in my head. That's one of my favorite quotes for relationships, because it's all about relationships right now, mostly. And that is that love is walking side by side while on different paths. And I think it was Wayne Dyer that said that. And I love it because, we're healing out with these nodes. We're healing out, especially with this new moon in Libra, out of any limited ways of being in a relationship. This is a time for us to be empowered to be our true selves and to show up as that, and to teach people to treat us that way. Remember, mostly, I'm going to come back to your comment, Crystal. Awesome. Mostly what we're doing is at a subconscious level. 95% of our mental capacity is subconscious information, and 95% of the time we're in that subconscious material. That's what I meant to say. I had learned it differently like 25 years ago, but it's this. We're only active in our prefrontal cortex 5% of the time. And our prefrontal cortex is where we're able to navigate with logic and reason and decision making. It's like, okay, I see this, I get this. But most of the time we are in our subconscious programming, the programming that was generated from our family of origin. And so since we're talking about relationships, relationship with self, relationship with others, relationship with our purpose and our destiny and all the players in our lives, we have to consider, what did we learn about relationships? What's our relationship blueprint? What were we programmed to believe relationships were like? Relationship with self. Maybe you didn't see your mom or dad practicing good self-care. What was the relationship between your mom and dad, or any relationships you saw? That got programmed, whether you knew it or not, because from 0 to 7, we're unconsciously programming. We're sponges. We're just taking it in as references. And this is really key. If you're noticing that some imbalance in relationship, ask yourself, what's my love story? What did I learn about love? What did I learn about self-love? And where is some of that information not even true? And here for the new moon, I'll begin to wrap up now to leave you with this, is the time to ask, what do I desire and what do I need to believe about myself in order to fulfill that desire? And what new patterning? And first we might look at old patterns. What's the pattern on repeat in relationships for you, and the way you show up for yourself or you don't show up for yourself, the way you're teaching people to be with you? And oftentimes we teach people to be with us and what's most familiar with us, the way we were with our families or the way we were when we were younger. And when you're evolving and healing and rising in your power, you need to get clear, who am I? And how do I want people to know me? And teach them to meet you there. And some can and some won't. And this is the thing about eclipse. Eclipse is when we get clear on where we're moving forward, what's calling our soul. Some things get left behind. Mostly old patterns, mostly old beliefs, the old patterns of relationships, the way you managed your life and dealt with people. Communication is really key as well right now because Mercury's in the picture. How you haven't spoken up for yourself. And I do invite you to this. It's a technique that I came up with. I call it getting current. First, you get clear. Who am I? What is emerging through me? What's my vision? What do I need to emerge? What potential, what belief about myself? Who do I need to become? Reverend Michael would say, who do I need to become in order to fulfill this vision? And then we need to practice that in every day with our thoughts, our patterns, our beliefs, our over and over and over again. But then you invite your friends, your family, your partner, and you say, I want you to get current with me. Because a lot of times our loved ones want to take us back to where they're familiar with us. And we're trying to go this way, right? So I want you to get current with me. I know that in the past you saw me this way, but this is who I am today, and this is what I'm cultivating, and this is what I desire, and this is where I'm growing forward to. Can you meet me here? Now, some people won't be able to meet you there. They won't be able to support you where you're going. And this is where eclipses, even though it's new moon growing potential, sometimes we let go in order to grow. And I'm just going to leave it with that. I'm going to look at comments really quick. Okay. Chaotic last week, old emotions stirring up. Yes, 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 yes. All that sludge coming up to the surface to be cleared so that you're a more clear vessel for Creator to work through. That's what I believe anyway. Okay. I think that's all I have for you. I'm so excited that so many of you showed up for me and for you. Really, this is for you. And I wish you well through this transformational time. Know that everything that's showing up is a guide to help you move forward or something you need to clear out of the way. I call it what's in the way of your way. Clear that. Set intention for what kind of relationships you want to have, starting with you. How do you want people to treat you, see you, be with you? Be that way with yourself. Teach people by example. That's how it goes. All right. I thank you all for being with me. And I think I'm going to say it's time to go. It's 42 minutes. My goodness, I talked a lot. Any last minute thoughts before I go, ladies? Anything? I'm going to just hang out for one couple minutes more if there's anything more. Okay. I would invite you, Megan, to reframe change as challenging to change is releasing what is challenging so I can emerge something more. Okay. It's important to reframe messages that we have that may be blocking our path. Jessica, thank you so much. This really resonated. I need to re-listen and take notes. Okay, good. I'm so happy. All right. My love to all of you. Take good care until we meet again, and reach for support if you need it, and continue to comment and share this video with those that you know that may benefit from it. And big hug. Much love. Take good care. Until next time. Bye.